So the first step is obviously to section it off. Normally when I'm looking at a watercolour landscape, I'm normally trying to select something that's got quite a lot of interest in it. Just get my reference up. Okay. So normally I wouldn't bother doing this as an actual or trying to sell it as a painting, because it's just a field with a bit of trees in the background. There's not enough visual interest. And I thought the way that we could make it more interesting is the way that we've got all these colours going out and out into the field. So this is Houghton field, looking across up to the weir. And for the last couple of weeks, we've had it full of buttercups. And you can see how the sunlight's catching on it. They've actually got some other flowers coming in. It's actually looking white here. And then obviously it was a semi-cloudy sky, and with it coming through. Normally when it's such a bright sunny day, you end up, the sky's a bit boring because it's just blue, okay? So what I would like you to do is start mixing up some paint for the sky. And I'm going to start mixing up a puddle of French ultramarine for the blue sky. If you want to lower down, I can put in actually just a little bit of colour change, but it's mainly just going to be French ultramarine that I'm going to do. Okay. And then on the other side that I'm going to be doing, so I'm going to make it slightly lighter key grey in the way that it's going. Okay. All right. So you're managing to mix up a little puddle of ultramarine. Okay, and you can still see me on this screen. All right. You're going to need a fairly big brush because we're going to be doing a wash of the sky. Okay. So I want you to have quite a big brush. This one that I've got here is, well, it's probably about number 10 or 12. Have you? But you want to try and have the biggest brush that you've got possible. To do a wash with. Nice big fat brush, because we're concentrating up here at the moment. Okay? And on my drawing, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to section it off. Okay? And because I want the field to be the point of interest, I'm just going to sketch a horizontal line that's just above centre. And I want to have a tree line, okay, which can be made up to whatever you want it to be. You can either use the photograph that I've sent you as a reference, or you could just roughly copy me. It doesn't really matter too much, okay? Okay, and this is actually quite a soft pencil I've just grabbed, but you'd be better off just using a HB pencil. All right, is everybody with me so far? Oh, yeah. You can't actually see that, can you? So I've just drawn a horizontal line along here with the suggestion of a tree line, as in my photographic reference over here. Look, this is my my phone. You see on my phone there. Okay. So a nice big brush, and we also want to have some kitchen paper ready. So in my photographic reference, I've got some streaks, and in my practice one that I emailed to you all, I've got a suggestion of some clouds as well as the sky. So what I want to show you is how to do clouds as well. So I'm hoping you'll be able to pick it up and see what I'm doing. Okay. Is everybody okay with what I'm doing at the moment? Yeah? Okay, right. So what we're going to do then is get our nice puddle of French ultramarine, okay. And if you want to have a little hue at the bottom, you can put a little bit of cerulean at the bottom. But we're mainly looking at French ultramarine as it goes. Okay, so we've got a nice blue. All right. I want you to have some kitchen paper at the ready, and what we're going to do is I'm twiddling it. So I've got my kitchen paper, okay, and I'm twiddling it, okay, so it's like a wrap. And what we're going to do is when we put the wash on, we're going to print like this and then pull it off, and this is how we're going to suggest some of the clouds. Okay?
Yeah.
Right. Everybody ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right, so here we go. Picking up, whacking on, scooping up some blue. So because this is a rough sketch, normally if we're doing it very carefully, we would be, remember me going on about how you want to have a nice pool of water, okay? But this time around, because it's just the freedom of sketching it and stuff, I'm just being a bit more free with it. And, oh, you're not picking this up very well. So I'm just dragging my brush across until I get to the line. I might have to take a photograph of this. I might try and hold my tablet up and see if you can see it, because my image isn't showing up as very strong. Are you able to see this, ladies?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not really worried too much about where things are going to go. Okay, so you can do as much streak as you like. Okay. And then I'm going to get my paper, and then I'm just going to block the edge of this, and I'm holding it down, pressing quite firm and then lifting off. Pressing quite firm and then lifting off. And I think I might have one down here, so I'm going to press really firm and then lifting off. Okay. I'm now going to add a little bit of tiny speck of purple to my ultramarine blue to make it slightly purpley. Right. And then I'm going to add a speck of yellow to it. So it's going to go like a sort of slight lilac-y grey colour. Right. So you want because when you do clouds, you want to be able to suggest which shadows going underneath. Hopefully, you can see that where it's going. Put some shadow in there. Right. And then you can soften the way the edges are going. Just roll it away. All right. I'm just going to soften that. Just get that another little dot there. That's better. Really just use your imagination to, I'm going to lift out here a few streaks along the horizon line at the bottom. So if I go slowly like a snail, and then I'm just going to pick up a little bit of cerulean. Let's do a little bit of light peeping through there. And I'm just going to streak a little bit of colour. Oh yeah, that's nice. Just gently pull it across. Might put a little bit there actually, because this is looking a little bit big. Just to get a nice rolled edge with the way that it's working. And just soften that a bit. That's better. Okay, that's a nice little windy looking sky, the way that it was working, so that was fairly good. All right, so I don't know whether you can see that on my screen. It looks almost bleached white out, so I don't know whether you can see any of the colouring. Okay, because obviously you can see how it's drying on there. It's all different. I mean, this one here is actually looking quite lilac-y here, and this one what I've done here quickly for you guys is actually looking more blue. But it's just the way that it goes when you're mixing up and stuff. it's better to leave it. If you decide when it's got bone dry that it's too light, you can always put another coat on the top, but you need to, there's only so far you can go before you start to lose the watercolour. So if you know, it's better to let it get bone dry if you decide you want to tweak it in the next layer. All right. Is everybody ready to now go down to the so you're ready to do the next bit?
Yeah.
Okay. And now we're going to have a go at doing the hedgerow in the distance. So I'm getting my Sap Green. Okay, and it's needs darkening down. Okay, so I'm now going to pick up more blue. We're going to go from Winsor blue green shade and my ultramarine. So the colour on the horizon is looking like quite a dark colour, which is normally quite unusual. It's to do with the lighting, I should guess, really, where it's going. All right, so we're going to look at the horizon next. And in relation to the field itself is looking quite citrusy, I suppose, where it's going. Okay, so we don't need to do any pre-wetting. I'm just going to go straight in with my brush, and you can just start to dabble around. Doesn't really matter how you start to do it, as long as you get a nice, I don't know, jiggly edge. And then I'm going to drag it flat, the edges. Okay. So here, I need to get rid of that, don't I? So just drag that across there. Look. And then I'm going to say, well, actually, some of these trees might be a bit lighter, or I might perhaps make that a little bit greener. So I'm just going to dab a little bit of green in there, just to break it up a little bit. Okay, and then perhaps some of these little bits here might be a bit darker. So I'm going to make that one. Just dab a bit of colour in there. So it's breaking up the horizon line rather than just having a solid band of colour that's exactly the same colour all the way across. This, you know, break it up a little bit. Okay. So if I bring in perhaps, there we go. So I'm just introducing a slight change in colour there. I don't want it to be too bright though, because I don't want it to come far too forward. So I'm now frantically picking up some blue, and I'm just going to take the brightness of it and kill it a little bit. Oops, I need too much colour. So I've now got a dark green and I've added some purple to it. Okay, and I'm just going all the way along according to where you want to go. Okay. So hopefully you've got a nice horizon line of soft greens that's sort of fairly broken. All right, is that okay with everybody?
Have
And
we
then
lost sound?
Can you hear me still?
Yep. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Is everything okay?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So that's it. And just dab it in wherever you think you want it to go. So just for a bit of interest. Okay. Right. The next step we want to go is down into the field. So hopefully, if you've got the email that I sent you with a reference, you'll see on the horizon line, you've got some white here, and then you've got this colour along here is a lovely, beautiful English mustard colour with streaks of this lovely sap green and olivey greeny sort of colours. Okay, so I'm going to change my brush. So I was using a fairly fat, rounded brush. Okay, but because I want to do streaks and sort of horizontal lines, I'm actually going to introduce a little bit using a chisel brush. Okay, So I've still got these two brushes. These are not my botanical brushes, I hasten to add. All right. And in this area, this is...
Have we lost
white
sound? No.
Uh,
No, well, I haven't. I can hear.
I can hear... Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
All right then. Okay. So this is white paper. And then this is mustard yellow or cadmium yellow. So this is what we're going to be mixing next. Okay? So you could use a cadmium yellow. You want a nice mustard colour. Really lovely and beautiful bright. The cadmium yellow on its own is very pure, isn't it? Okay? So if you just want to darken it a smidge, you can either have a tiny touch of red to it, depending on how orange you want to do it. And just to take the purity out of it, if you wanted a little bit, because it is meant to be receding on the horizon, you can just give it a smear of green to it. So it's just slightly contaminated, right, to get that nice classic mustard colour. Okay. So you can even pick up a little bit of orange if you want to. All right. So I'm going to leave a gap here. Right. See the white? So we need to leave that empty, that space empty. So if I'm using this one the side of my brush, and it's actually quite an old one, so it's quite splintered. I can actually start to drag this, look, in horizontal lines. See? And just drag it across. And I'm now going to hold it flat and start dragging across. Look. So I get these really nice edges the way that that's working. Dragging it across. Okay. Okay. And then I'm going to pick up some of my Sap Green, olive green, okay. And I'm going to drag some green into the picture, okay. So I'm just doing sweeps, just sideways. And where I've got too much white, I'm going to start to drag the green in, and a little bit on here, okay. And then I'm picking up some water, and then I'm just going to drag this across. So I'm just dragging it across. So I start to lose it the way that it's going. Okay. Now I'm going to pick up some more yellow. Okay. Okay. And now I'm just going to see where I want to go with the yellow and start to dot it around. Okay. So we start to get the suggestion of it. So at the top where the horizon line is, I suppose the mustard is being knocked down a little bit by the sap green, but as we want to come forward, we want to celebrate that, enhance it perhaps. So I'm now beginning to change between the chisel brush and my round brush, to pick my round one up. I'm thinking, right, I want to try and get some interest, so I'm going to do some direction marks the way this is starting to go. Okay. Drag this up. Okay. And then go back to my green. Okay. So I'm just flicking it across. And where did it start to go? And do some nice big bold sweeps coming round. Okay. Just soften that edge there. Do some fine tweaks here. Oh, that's settling. So down here, I want to try and get some more. So I'm going to do some lines here. We've got some patches where we can see the grass is looking quite strong. So I'm going to start to change the angle that I start to use my brush. So we can start to get some lines going. Okay, a few little dots there, not too much actually. Yeah, I'm going to start to bring in some more mustard as well. Bring in some more yellow. Okay. It might still be a little bit damp, so let's give it a go. Yeah. Let's see if we can get the toothbrush out now. Might nearly be ready. I'm just doing a little test run just to see if that's working. So let's break that up. There we are, start to get some movement going now. So if you have a toothbrush, down the bottom, I'm starting to sprinkle on some colours, or some little fine little bits. You see that? So it's making a, don't know if you can tell, I've just dropped a bit on there actually. Just blend that bit out. Don't want that bit there. Go away. There we go. It's gone. How are we getting on?
Yes, well,
Like a child's drawing.
goes well. Toothbrush.
As the colour comes towards us, I'm bringing the colour down. So you can start to dab it like this, look. Spreading the edges a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to boost this area here because of, see if it's dry. Let's get a stronger mustard colour on there. So it looks so strong in the picture. Whoops. In danger of being a bit too strong.
Oh, boosted my sky there.
Right, let's see how I can improve this a bit more. I've lost my picture. There we go. Oh, the ice cream man's coming around. So what I'm going to try and do, if I'm looking at my reference, we need to get some dark shadow across here. Oh, hang on. Yeah, a little bit here. This white's going a little bit long here. I've also lost a little bit. My white probably would have been used a bit more. What I can do is a couple of things here. Right, I'm going to do some lifting along here. I want it to be a bit lighter. So I'm pressing hard, and if I go slowly like a snail, yes, look, I'm lifting it out a little bit. I'll just perhaps a little bit more light on here. I'm washing my brush out every time to make sure my brush is clean, because I'm trying to lift that out a little bit to get a bit more of a soft haze. Because there we go, that softened it a bit better. And then here, I think. So what I would do is just look at your painting and decide, try and get some interesting zigzags or streaks you think look nice. So I'm just using those so we don't just end up with a flat meadow. So that's why I'm trying to make some interesting streaks in the way that that's starting to go. This area here is too light, so I'm thinking I'm going to boost it with a bit more of that sort of mustardy colour. It's sort of, I don't know, the photograph looks like a yellowy olive colour, doesn't it? So I'm picking up my cadmium yellow. I'm adding a bit of orange to it. So it's sort of I don't want it to be too dirty. I mean, it's all artistic license, I suppose, as to how clean or how dirty you want the colour to be. So this brush, as you can see, is not dripping with water, but I've got a lot on it. So I'm going to very lightly try and scrape the surface with it. Okay, because we've got a dark streak here. So I'm sort of, there we go, look. So you can almost sort of, by doing things like this, very lightly and then dragging it with your finger, you can start to pick out areas where you think, oh yeah, that bit works. So I think we need a little bit there and a little bit along here. So it's very lightly, and I'm resting my hand, pinky, on the picture, so I can start to get some interesting streaks. You do need a bit of underlining here, a bit there. And a bit there. Yeah, that looks better. Now I'm going to slightly change my colour to a nice green colour. So I'm going back to my Sap Green. Okay, and I just drag a little bit across here. I'm just going to dilute it a little bit because it's a bit strong. Oh yeah, that's quite a nice colour. I'll just wiggle that away. Look, disappears that horrible, harsh shape that I had. And then I can just drag that across. There we are. That looks more natural looking now, doesn't it? All right. I don't know whether any of you ladies have done many landscape pictures, but I know obviously with watercolours you can, I don't know, they obviously always say don't overwork the picture, but you can start to stroke on and put on quite, you know, you're interested in colours. And once this is bone dry, I suppose if you wanted to, you could start to flick on some white gouache or something rather like that in the way that it's working. All right. If I bring this one across that I did earlier for you, okay, and I get my toothbrush. What I was going to suggest to you ladies, can you see you can start to get some nice splinters? Can you see the splinters on here?
Yeah.
Can you see the splash marks?
Yeah.
Okay, so as the image comes down, or in the centre, you could start to, hang on, splatter. What I would do is protect your skyline, because you don't want yellow splatters on your skyline.
Is that yellow, Amanda?
Yes, sorry, it's yellow. The yellow buttercups, as bright as you can.
Right.
Okay, or you could have a go at doing it with just tapping it on, actually holding it from a height and just tapping on with your brush. Works quite well. You want to have, with these little splashes of paint, you want to have the paint itself very thick. Okay, and ideally this landscape painting would be more dry before you add the spots effectively on top, because they won't show up very well on damp paper. Okay, and if you want to really enhance these buttercups at the bottom, and if you look at the picture, I should probably make this a darker green, but we're beginning to run out of time, which is why I haven't bothered. But if you really wanted to enhance the splashes, you should. It would be much easier for you to demonstrate or show that in your picture if you mix the darker green. Okay. So at the moment, I'm just getting this yellow as bright as I can in a fairly thick consistency. Okay, loading it on my brush, and then you can tap it on. See, can you see the marks on there? Hopefully, and then you can start to make it look really pretty.
Why are we mute? No. I can hear you.
Is everybody out? So
Yeah.
that's the way that it's going and the way that it's working. All right. So that's us probably nearly concluded with our Zoom meeting. I'm hoping that we won't get cut off at any point. And then now that things are beginning to settle, I have got, in my urgency to demonstrate to you guys, I have got a few yellow splashes on my sky, so I will probably...
Oh, well, I've got it all over the table.
There we go. I've just wiped mine off. There you go.
No change today.
So if you decide you want to amend your horizon at all, okay, you want to darken any of the greens or anything, okay, or change any subtleties in the way that it's going, you can do that now that it's settled down a little bit. All right. You can say, right, I'm going to go back, providing you get the line. Okay. Now that's very harsh, so what I need to do is soften it. So this is just a damp brush, no colour on this. Okay, and I'm just going to use that just to break this up and just to drag the colour up. So I just wanted to boost it a smidge. Okay, but I didn't want it to be too much. Okay. There we are. And then it doesn't look quite so scary now. All right. Yeah, looks more natural. And then that's all you need to do, just tidy up just a few little edges that you want to do. Coming across on there. All right.
Yeah. Very good.
Any more lifting out, you can do that now. Just so clean brush.
Yeah.
Got it just to lift out any more highlights. So you have these lovely streaks of golden yellow colour, and that's what I saw when I was walking my puppy, who is fast asleep on my feet, bless him.
Oh.
They always like to be lazy, don't they? It's absolutely El Sparko. All right. My next door neighbour's having a nice play with his son. I don't know if you can hear that.
Yeah. You can hear something, yeah, I couldn't work
There
out
we
what.
go. So I need to probably let this settle a little bit more, and then if you want to build it up, you wanted to, in the way that that's working. All right. So hopefully you can see a similarity between the two. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Very good.
All right. So you can see there's a darker patch down here. And the actual fact there's a darker bit. I think this one works a bit better here with the darker bits down here. Darker streak, perhaps. So what I could do is perhaps bring in a bit more darker. Okay. As long as you let it settle and it's not too much. So that looks quite good. Oh, it's actually through the green, look. So that bit there, and that bit there, and that bit there. That looks a bit more interesting, doesn't it? So now let's just scrape this on, look. There we go. So I've now boosted it a bit, and darkened it a bit more. Okay, that's better. Okay, yeah, definitely better the way that that's working. But as long as you scrape it on dry, I'm not drowning the paper at any stage. Okay, then it gives me ability. Can you see how I've got that? Need to get a bit closer. All right. These, I've got a nice dark cloud here, which I don't have on this one. So I'll show you how to do that. If you want to boost something or just give it a bit more shadow, because as you know, clouds have a natural sort of slightly greyish undertone to them. Slightly lilac-y, perhaps. So we know it needs to be underlined, so we can bring it through on here, there, okay. And then we need to soften this edge because it's obviously like a harsh scar, isn't it? So if I just get my water, okay, my battery's getting low on one of my cameras. Okay, look, you see if I'm just tickling that edge? Okay. So now I have a nice dark underline on my cloud. Okay. Oops, I just touched it with my wet finger. There you go. Okay, you see that? So I've now got a nice shadow. So they could be, I could do another one here. Maybe I have to put another shadow on the cloud. Okay, so if I just pick up my purpley greyish colour. Okay, and I just streak a bit on, wiggle it on, and then do a slight sweep with water. I've now created another underline for the cloud. And the way that that's working. And I could do another one here actually to make it a bit more lively. There we go. And then because it's a harsh edge, if I just soften it with water, it just drifts away. There we go. Now I've got my billowing clouds, the way that that's working. All right. So if I wanted to boost this even more, I need to get bone dry, or if you really want to try and bring up the brightness of the buttercups, or really want to get some really stronger colours even coming through, you'd have to mix up more paint. Or, as I say, if you wanted bright white, then you probably, if you're planning it in a more methodical way, then obviously you would probably splatter some masking fluid on this to preserve the brightness of it. But because this is meant to be a quick sort of sketch, we haven't done it that way round. So you could alternatively use acrylic if you wanted to, and use acrylic and then splatter it on if you wanted to try and boost it up a bit more in the way that it's working. All right, but hopefully that's given you an idea of how you can just do a little watercolour sketch.